Hey Dot sisters and friends across the globe, it is Shannon Crotty, founder and CEO of Polka Dot Powerhouse, coming to you with another managing director interview. One of our great managing director team members is with us today, the beautiful and always brilliant Sue Bennett. Sue, thank you so much for being on today. Appreciate you.
Shannon, it's great to be here.
I know I've had the honor of getting to know you, what I think is very well, but I know a lot of viewers may not. So maybe you can let people know who you are and maybe just a little bit about you, what you're not doing when what you're doing when you're not doing Polka Dot. And so we'll go from there.
Okay, so I am a mother and a wife. I have 2 children, 3 grandsons, ages 10, 8, and almost 4, which light up my life. And let's see, I've been married. Actually, our anniversary is tomorrow. I met him in high school, so it's been a very long time.
How many years?
Oh gosh, 48.
Wow, that's a huge accomplishment. How many marriages make it 48 years anymore? So congratulations. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. So what do I do? Okay, so I am in a company called Magnetude Jewelry, which is therapeutic jewelry, which counteracts 5G. And I like to educate people on the effects of 5G on our bodies and stuff like that, and hopefully help them to alleviate that. Also like to decorate. I like fashion and anything to do with that.
Yeah. You're also a tremendous leader in your own right. And I don't know if you've fully embraced what a great leader you are, but yeah, you got that leadership thing going too. And we're going to get to that. So you are the managing director of the Wilmington, Delaware chapter. Talk a little about how long you've been doing that and what made you want to do that.
Okay, so I've been a member for 8 years. I was on leadership in the beginning for member support and guest support for the first 2 years, and then the managing director had to step down, so I decided to apply for the position, which I don't know why I did, because I'm not really one to jump in like that, but I did because I love the women and I love to, connect and collaborate with them. And I just didn't want to see the chapter go away. So I applied, I got the position, and it'll be 5.5 years ago that happened.
And you've done such an incredible job as leader of that chapter. Here's what I want to ask while I'm thinking of it. So we're going to kind of mix themes today because I'm going to go back and forth, I think. I heard you say, and you said right before we hit record, that you don't like to be the center of attention. And I heard that you just said, I don't know why I did that because I normally don't do that. I think so many people think, and I talked about this with another MD recently on an interview, people have in their head sometimes what something looks like. And if they don't like to be the center of the attention, or if they don't see themselves in the model that maybe society has shown them what a leader looks like. What would you say to that? Like, what would you say to someone that's watching that's saying, I would love to do, or I would love, whether it's Polka Dot or something else, I'd love to be a leader, but I don't like to be the focus. What would you say to people who are similarly geared that way?
Well, you got to jump in with both feet and give it a try. That's what I did.
How did you get like a gut feeling or something of that nature? Like, how did you know, like, okay, this isn't, I say all the time, just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's wrong, right? Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. How did you know, okay, this is uncomfortable, but I think it might be good for me? Like, was it a gut feeling that you had?
I think so, because I've grown so much personally and professionally with it. So it's really helped me a lot.
Yeah. And so how was that for you, taking that role on and also trying to protect your space as a person that doesn't want that spotlight all the time? How was taking on a leadership role and also staying in the area that you're comfortable in?
Well, I'm really a soft-spoken, quiet person, so people get to know me like that. And then when you are soft-spoken, I think they listen more. So, they have to kind of tune in to what you're saying. So that's kind of like how I approached it.
Kind of like the saying that person doesn't say much, but when they say it, it's powerful. Yeah. And I suppose one of the things I like about the community that we've built is the women aren't cookie cutters. I'm going to age myself, but we're not Stepford wives, and the leaders aren't, right? So leadership can fit and can look like many different personalities. And I think that, our format when you come to our meetings and all of that are the same. But I think it's great that I always say that members have to be able to see themselves in our teams and in our community, because we're only a reflection, right? I think it's a great testament to the community that we've all built together, that the leadership do not all have the same personality. I think that lends itself to revealing who we are as a community. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I think all different personalities gel, and then they kind of, work together, and that's kind of what works.
Yeah. When you were building your leadership team, what were the qualities that you were looking for? I know when we interviewed, we talked a lot about that there's many reasons for a leadership team to help the main leader lead, but one of those reasons is to balance them. So when you were looking for a leadership team, did you have a plan in place? Did you just watch for people who were very helpful? Did you have certain qualities that you were looking for? What was that you were, how did you build that?
Actually, I've had two of them on my leadership team since the very beginning. And they were two ladies that were always there, always helped out, and always had my back. So they've been there forever. The other ladies, I just kind of looked and see what kind of personality they had, and if they were great for connecting with people.
Yeah. Do you give them, and again, different leaders do it different ways. Do you give them any sort of, I know that we entrust in you to make sure things are done right. Are you the kind of leader who gives the instructions on the front end, or are you the kind of leader that says, we'll let them jump in and then we'll teach them how to swim while they're in the water? Like, what kind of leader are you as far as your leadership team?
Well, I try and put it out there first, and then I get their opinions and see what they, have to share.
Yeah, and then go from there. I think that's great. Again, every leader builds their leadership team differently. And I think that's a great testament to the community. And it sounds like you build yours in a way, like, I know that you're always observing. I can see it in your eyes that you are like calculating and learning and while you're observing. And so to allow your leadership team to grow with you, I think, really sends a certain energy out to your members.
And I value their opinion too. So.
Right. There's no, it doesn't feel or look like sisterhood if there's just one person in the front and no one with them. Like, there's no reason for anybody to believe that we are who we say we are if it's just one leader and no their leader, like, they're way, way past, they're way in the front and there's nobody helping them. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
All right, so Polka Dot, what has the community done for you?
Well, like I said earlier, I've grown personally, professionally, because I was always very shy, not outgoing at all. Couldn't even get up there and speak. When I was doing a direct sales company for the first time many years ago, I couldn't get up there in front of the ladies and speak. So I sat down in a chair and I kind of just had a conversation with them, and that's how it all started. But then growing with Polka Dot has helped me to stand up in front of people and, go from there.
Yeah. Why do you think, because I think there's people who think if there's no drama, it must be fake. And we always say, it's not that there's not any drama. It's just that we don't spend our time with that as the focus, right? We're all dealing with some stuff that either people know or they don't know. But when we're together, it's much more powerful to be productive and constructive and all those things. How do you maintain that within your chapter?
Well, if there's any drama or anything like that going on, we try and nip it in the bud. We try and reach out to that member or members who are having a conflict or something like that to kind of resolve that immediately. So it's not something that lingers.
Right, because I think when you say no drama, people are like, well, even consciously or subconsciously are like, let's just test this. Do they really mean it? What does that look like for them? And I think so it's all in the reaction and how we handle it, as instead of how the initial flame starts. It's a matter of how we handle putting that fire out or making sure it doesn't spread. Yeah. So is that something that the whole team does? Or is that kind of been put on you as the main leader?
Well, we'll discuss it as a team and we'll
Yeah.
see the approach that we're going to take.
Yeah.
And sometimes they won't even come to me first. They might go to leadership first.
Yeah. It's interesting. Humans are amazing, and they're also a very interesting psychology study, right? Like how they handle trauma, who go to with it. And, in all fairness to all the members, we're the people they trust. And so sometimes, we've all been carrying more than half the world on our shoulders. When something finally spews and there's someone you trust there, unfortunately, it doesn't make it right, but that's sometimes the person that gets it. But we can also, I think it's very possible to see and appreciate members to help them feel validated and important, and also maintain the boundaries and standards of, we're not going to swim in this. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. And I think that, again, I think that trickles down from the leadership. So I think it's a great thing that you keep your leaders informed so that everybody knows, hey, this is happening. And as a team, as a chapter leadership, everybody, this is how we're handling it. If something got kind of crazy, but because again, we're still working with humans, and humans are, we're all a little bit damaged goods. So it's just remembering that. Why do you think sisterhood's so important?
Sisterhood's important because of the connections that we make, the friendships that we make, and then that lasts a lifetime. So
Absolutely. Do you think that, and there's no wrong answer here, I'm just very curious on your input. Do you think sisterhood is more important at certain ages or certain cycles of life, or do you think it remains important the whole way through?
I think it remains important the whole way through, because in college you have the sororities and stuff like that, and as you get older, I had a brother, I didn't have any sisters, so this is great for me.
Yeah. And it was really, I think you've heard the story, but not a lot of people may know this. In the very early days of Polka Dot, we had personal, we had business membership, and it was a little bit of a dumpster fire, so it wasn't very long lived. But I remember one of the leadership coming to, and at that point, a lot of the members were advertisers with the magazine that we owned. And I remember one of the leadership coming to me and saying, a certain member had sold their business, was no longer an entrepreneur, no longer owned a business. And her question was, so do we got to kick him out of the business membership? And I remember thinking, oh, wait, I hadn't thought that far. I hadn't thought about that. And so I think it's what's really interesting now is we have a membership. And then we, of course, have diamond membership, which is a higher level, more goal concentrated membership. But what's interesting is that was a really perfect demonstration of how life is, right? Like people move, they change relationships, they go through some of the major milestones of life, and how all of a sudden maybe we've lost friends or we're feeling lonely and all that. And I remember thinking when that was brought up, what if we just had people that were with us all the parts of our life? What if we, you lean in sometimes and you lean out sometimes, but what if you just had your allies, your friends, and it didn't matter if you owned a business or if you just got divorced or if you were retiring or if you're just coming out of college, you just had an army of allies and friends and supporters and push agents all the time. Yeah, I think when we say sisterhood is that reflection that we're worthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone was either, I heard you say to leaders just jump, but if someone's looking at our membership, and some people I've learned have looked for a long time, they'll say, I've been watching you for years. If someone is looking, what can you tell them about this community that we haven't already said that would help them understand why it might be important for their life.
We've said a lot about it already.
We have.
So the connections that you make with the ladies and the friendships, that's basically, you know, what it's all about. You know, it's building those relationships with people that you know, like, and trust. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And if someone is wanting to take a step forward in a leadership capacity, and you said just go for it, but some people are like, but how? Do you think that looks like reading a leadership book? Do you think that looks like raising your hand in whatever community, whether it's Polka Dot, your rowing club, the PTA, whatever? Is that just literally, I'm a fan of jumping off a cliff and building the plane on the way down, but not everybody's a fan of that. Do you think when you say go for it, does that look like just raising your hand, being comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, and walking through that fire? Or when you say go for it, does that mean a more structured, read a book, ask for a mentor? Like, what does that mean for you?
For me, it means just jump in and do what you have to do and learn from there. Not really a book. I don't really like to read manuals and stuff like that because everything comes differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do want to do that, just because someone hasn't asked you doesn't mean that they don't see value in you. They may not think you have an interest in leadership until you say, hey, I think I might be able to serve. I think I might be able to help on leadership, and put that seed in their head. Because I know for me, especially, sometimes I'm like, okay, we all have abundance. Sometimes it's until that person suggests to me that they are ready for a position or that they are ready for leadership, they're ready to serve, that I start to entertain that more. So sometimes it's just planting the seed, I think, too, right?
Yeah. So like when I joined Legacy Leadership, it was like, okay, I'm going to do this. You know, it's like, I really didn't think much about it. I figured I'll just fill out the application, see what goes. Oh.
Absolutely. And I think as you, I don't mean to sound like a video game, as you jump leadership levels, that reflection comes much stronger, that commitment's much stronger. I think it takes a lot, like, I think anybody in a leadership role, and I don't care what they tell you, maybe they're just so used to it. It takes courage to step forth. It takes courage to get in front of everybody and know that sometimes you're going to fall on your face. And as you go higher up in leadership positions, like, just because you have experience in leadership, that doesn't mean taking the next level of leadership is easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know if it's for you, is it getting comfortable with being uncomfortable then?
I think so, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Just having the courage to say, okay, I'm uncomfortable, but there's not an alligator chasing me. I'm not in danger. This might just be me growing as a person.
True. Very true.
Yeah. Okay. I know I love being around you, and I know after this interview, more people will want to find you, and we're going to put it in the description of the video, but where can people find you?
My email address is myhealthyjewelry@gmail.com or suerocksthedot@gmail.com.
And if you want to find the Wilmington chapter, just go under the Polka Dot Powerhouse website, under Find a Chapter, under Delaware. If you click on Wilmington, you're going to see Sue and her extraordinary leadership team and find out about how to reach her and go to her meetings. Is there anything else that you want to add about Polka Dot, about leadership? Is there anything I've kind of haven't given you the opportunity to talk about?
Just that we're a group of strong, dynamic women who always come together every month.
Absolutely.
And it's great that you can connect and collaborate with women across the country too, nationwide actually, because I've met so many ladies that way through Zoom.
Absolutely. And now we're getting other countries involved. We got Australia, Canada, the UK. We have members in countries we don't have virtual chapters in. So that is slowly spreading, right? Because I don't think sisterhood is a US culture thing. I think sisterhood is something that is embedded in part of our needs, is that ability to be seen, appreciated, and have people you can rely on. Absolutely. Sue, thank you so much for the gift of your time today and of your wisdom. I appreciate you taking the time with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll see you next week with another managing director interview. Until then, we hope that you're finding joy and you're connecting to women and men, all humans, in your day-to-day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.